Hello, folks. Today we're going to talk about understanding emotional manipulation. I'm going to give you a survival guide. It does what it says on the tin, folks. It does what it says on the tin. So let's look at what emotional manipulation is. So we know the type. They're usually narcissists, psychopaths, sociopaths. People with no empathy will usually trample all over your boundaries until you discover if you've got any boundaries or not. So this video is for the healer, the empath, the light worker, call it what you will. The person with very high empathy, usually the peacekeeper, the person that wants to do good, the person that wants to keep everybody calm. Now, in a family environment, that's usually an impossible task, especially if you add one narcissistic element that throws everything askew, a bit like throwing the fox into the chicken coop. The only way that you can get around that, folks, is to get rid of the fox. But if you have to deal with the narcissist and you have to deal with emotional manipulation in certain contexts, I'm going to give you a set of tools today to first bring your awareness to what you're dealing with here. And secondly, to give you some techniques that you can use to cut the nonsense, to cut down the nonsense. So you're probably adept at dealing with nonsense. Otherwise, you wouldn't be attracted to this video. So emotional manipulation, let's look at it as a big topic for starters. What does it usually mean? These are the people that impose their will upon you, impose their will, and they'll make you feel bad. They'll guilt trip you is a big sort of technique that the manipulator will use. It's usually that narcissistic, psychopathic, sociopathic personality. That's what I'm talking about, that you're going to be dealing with. I'm going to assume that you're drawn to this because you've got high empathy and you are the peacekeeper. And so the people that you're dealing with are always right and they always make your life difficult. And you're the one that tries to navigate the peaceful middle ground. Well, let me explain for a start. If you're dealing with a narcissistic personality, there is no middle ground. There's only a ground where you say no and they don't like it. So you're going to have to take a certain amount of heat in order to resolve what we're talking about here. There's no middle ground. There's no sitting down with a narcissist and finding a happy place in the middle. That does not exist. So let's start with that, folks. That's what you're dealing with. That's what you're dealing with. The narcissist is always right. And the narcissist always likes to make you wrong. It's not enough for them to be right. And even when they're the one in the wrong, they have a great way of getting you to believe that it's all your fault. Emotional manipulation, the narcissist's favorite card. It's the favorite card they play. They hit you with all of their bullshit and then convince you it's your fault. So that's what you're dealing with, folks. That's what we're dealing with here. So the first thing that you need to do is recognize it. You need to recognize what you're dealing with here. So it's been said to me that apparently 5% of the population is narcissistic or psychopathic. What does that mean? It means that they have no empathy. Now, if you take away empathy, you're never going to find a middle ground because empathy is the super weapon of the healer. It's also the thing that the narcissist will use to fire back at you. They will know that you're high empathy. They know that you care, and they'll use that to their advantage. And the way that you know this is because you'll always end up going through whatever negotiation you is or whatever situation, and you'll always feel compromised at the end, always. And there'll very rarely be any sort of lack acknowledgement from them that they've done anything wrong. The narcissist tends not to apologize very often. There you go. And when they do apologize, it's usually insincere, and it usually has, it's usually part of the bigger package. It's a chess move, folks, to lull you into a full sense of security. The narcissist feels no empathy. They have no conscience, folks. They will tread all over you. They will make it about them. and they will be right all of the time. That's what you're dealing with. And when that dynamic is in place, emotional manipulation is easy. This is the narcissist's playground, manipulating people emotionally. And their game is to undermine your confidence one step at a time to the point where you're completely dependent on them. So that's what you're dealing with here. Somebody that doesn't care about how you feel, somebody that's always right, and somebody that makes you always wrong and tries to get you to believe that everything that they do is your fault. That's what you're dealing with, folks. That's the playground for the emotional manipulator or the narcissist. That's their board game. And you choose to play it by keeping them on your radar. Now, they might be your partner or a family member. There's no easy way to say this, folks, but the fast track, the only track in my world, is to get rid of them. That's the only way out of this. And when I say get rid of them, I mean get rid of them out of your radar. And if that's a relationship, you need to divorce and get out. If that is a family member, you just need to shut the door and say, no, enough is enough. I'm not spending any more time with you. I'm getting out. I'm not playing your game anymore. Your rules do not apply for me. That's the only way that you can get around getting out of this. But I've got plenty of videos on that aspect of this, which we can guide you in the direction of after this, if that's what you're looking for. But for now, I'm just here to get you to understand how emotional manipulation works and to diagnose whether you're dealing with somebody and that's their agenda. The mistake that the healer, the empath, the light worker, you are likely making is thinking that this person has any sort of conscience, thinking that they can be reasoned with. They can't. They can't. Now, people that are healers, empaths, light workers will eventually wake up to this after a lifetime of it. For me, it took most of my life to identify narcissists in my business, in my friend circle, and in my family. And it's harder to wake up to it when it's in your family. And it's harder when you actually just have to say, no, I'm not spending any more time. That's it. We're done. And that might seem ridiculously harsh for people watching this that haven't had to go through this yet. But I can assure you that's where your sanity lies at that point. Your boundaries fix at that point. Because a narcissist will always take, they will always encroach your boundaries. They will always make you wrong. And you need to wake up, folks, wake up to the symptoms of the narcissist in action, because they're good. They're good at what they do. They're good at playing the game, and they're good at having or pretending that they're your friend and pretending to have empathy, but they have none. They have none. Their only goal is to be in complete control. And if that involves plucking away at your confidence, that's usually how the game goes down. So you need to understand that that is what emotional manipulation looks like. And the symptoms for you are that you are the peacekeeper. You've tried to reason, you've tried to meet them halfway, and it never, ever works. You very rarely, if ever, get any apology. And no, it's not enough for them to be right, but they have to make you believe that it's your fault that they're acting the way that they do. These are the symptoms. Wake up, folks. Wake up, because here's the reality check. And the unfortunate thing, this is not ever going to change as long as you stay in that relationship. As long as you spend time with this person, they're never going to change their ways. All you can do is say no. No, if you behave like that, I refuse to spend time with you. If you behave like that, I am not having anything to do with you. Your sanity lies in that boundary, folks, in that boundary. And it's painful. I'm not going to pretend that it isn't. I'm not going to pretend that this is an easy journey. Here I am. I'm in the advanced years of my life, having woken up to this a lot later than I would have liked to. This has been a slow and painful journey for me, and my journey has involved my trip on here to present this video to you is to catch you at a position to save you the time, the pain, the energy, and the effort of firstly discovering what this is, and secondly, waking up to it. But not only that, having the confidence and the toolkit to do something about it. So here's a few techniques that will help you with the narcissist. They don't like their behavior being called out. So if someone's acting badly in public, the healer and empath, usually the tendency is to roll their eyes, wait till the narcissist goes, then do all the apologizing, call them out on their bad behavior. They'll hate it. They will hate this. Narcissists hate being called out. And you just simply say something, whatever, you just calm as you can, you call out the behavior publicly. They don't like that, folks. Why are you being so mean to this person? Haven't you ever made the same mistake as what you're calling out here? Or if you know of a situation where they made that mistake, to call it out, to highlight their insecurities, to do exactly what they're doing to other people. Be a mirror, folks. Here's the wake-up call. Narcissists hate their own behavior on the receiving end. When they give it, they do it without having a conscious, but they're usually quite precious when you point it out to them. So mimicking narcissistic behavior to the narcissist will instantly make them realize that this is not good. They still won't see that when they do it, it's a problem, but when you do it to them, they'll instantly know. So you can turn their attack into a defense by throwing their own behavior back at them. Now, it takes bravery, and the narcissist can be aggressive, whether that's verbally or physically. If it's physical, then that makes it a little bit more difficult. Unless you're ready to fight your corner, but it's usually verbal. They're usually very aggressive verbally, and they will go on the attack. They don't like their own medicine, folks. And if you can get used to highlighting that or giving the narcissist back their own medicine, well, I'll tell you how it works in my world. You don't last very long. You stop getting invited if they're friends. And if it happens in a family, you end up not talking to the person. It's that simple, folks. That's usually the end game. That's where it leads. That's how emotional manipulators usually do. Because if you become a difficult target, then they'll find someone easier. They'll move to an easier target. And that is just the bottom line, folks. That is how they work. That is the game. That is the narcissist's end game. So we've highlighted the symptoms. We've highlighted what you're dealing with. We highlighted a couple of techniques that you can use to reverse that effect. And if you're still watching, folks, and you're new to the channel, that's for a reason. This video has been energized to find you. My channel is full of resources. It's full of hints. It's full of tips of how you can improve your world and your life. And I would encourage you to subscribe if you haven't already. Like and subscribe this video. And here's a video to give you some instant energy, folks.